As a Muslim growing up in America, I couldn't go to KFC, I couldn't go to Popeyes, and I'm afraid I also couldn't go to Chick-fil-A. So the only way I was going to get some fried chicken was by making it at home. My family has been making fried chicken for a long time, and I can truly say that my parents' recipe for fried chicken is the best I've ever had. So let's get right into this one. For this recipe, I'm using chicken wings, and I highly recommend that you do as well. It's hard to mess up chicken wings, because if I put salt and pepper on them and bake them in the oven, they'd still taste good. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone take the skin off of chicken wings, although I don't see why you would. They get super crispy in the fryer and are kind of like a protective shell for all the juices in the meat, so I definitely recommend you keep the skin on. Like in the last episode, I'm doing all the seasoning completely by feel, and I'm going to start with kosher salt. I explained why I'm using kosher salt in my last video. Please do check it out. I'm going to put it in the description. The crystals of kosher salt are much bigger than your average table salt. Table salt usually melts when it hits the surface, which is really annoying. It can lead to over-salting. Kosher salt is easily visible, and I can actually see how much salt I'm adding. As long as there's an even distribution of salt on the chicken, you should be good. I wouldn't worry about it all that much. Then hit the chicken, but not too hard, with some freshly ground black pepper. I'm using coarse ground, but you could use fine if you wanted. It would just take a little longer to season the chicken. You could also buy the pre-ground stuff, but fresh ground will obviously have a stronger and more pronounced flavor. I like to sprinkle lots of paprika because it gives a nice color to the finished product. It's not a very strong spice, so I wouldn't worry too much. Garlic powder is important here. I like to add lots of it. Without garlic powder, you're missing out on a lot of amazing flavor, so make sure to put a nice even coating. Then some cayenne, not a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of spicy, but it adds a flavorful kick that is welcome. Then just a sprinkle of white pepper, because it can be a little overpowering sometimes. And now for the secret ingredient, yogurt. The secret ingredient is yogurt because, one, it's a thicker substance. You can use a lot less while still being able to coat the chicken. And two, since it's thicker, I don't have to double bread it because flour sticks to yogurt much better than buttermilk. And three, did you know that yogurt will actually do the exact same thing as buttermilk? It's same acidity as buttermilk, so it's going to keep the chicken tender, it's going to make it more soft when it's done, it's going to improve the final product. That's why you'll find the yogurt is used a lot in Indian cuisine, in Afghan cuisine. For example, tandoori chicken or chicken tikka masala, both of those are marinated in yogurt overnight. Mix this with a glove, preferably. I always like to use a glove when I am handling chicken, and marinate it overnight. You could also get away with like 3 hours or more, but overnight is definitely better. And now for the flour mixture. I'm kind of just throwing in some flour, not really measuring. Fried chicken is really forgiving, so I don't really worry about all that stuff. Then in goes a tablespoon of salt, some freshly ground black pepper, garlic powder, paprika for color, and a little white pepper. If you want your fried chicken to be more of like a light golden color rather than a darker brown, you could put a lot less paprika and put in a little turmeric. Not too much turmeric because it's a powerful spice. Then just give that a whisk and set it aside. And now for coating the chicken, it's pretty simple. From left to right, I have For coating the chicken, it's pretty simple. From left to right, I have my marinated chicken, my flour, and then a cooling rack. Dip your chicken into the flour and pack it in like I'm doing here. Make sure to get flour into every crevice of chicken, and when I say pack it in, I really mean pack it in, because if the flour does not stick, it'll fall right off in the flour. Then, God, I didn't mean flour, I meant fryer. Yes. I didn't mean flour, I swear. Okay, let's try this again. It'll fall off in the fryer. If you don't pack it in, it'll fall off in the fryer. And once you're done flouring it, put it on a cooling rack. Heat up some high heat oil to 350 degrees in a wok or heavy bottom pot like a Dutch oven. If you don't have a thermometer, you could always do what I do, which is to stick the tip of a wooden skewer in the oil, and if the skewer bubbles, the oil is ready. It's not the best method, but it does work. If you dip the chicken in the oil and the oil does not immediately start bubbling like it is now, take it out immediately, because if you leave the chicken in cold oil, it's going to get soggy rather than crispy. Another really important tip is to make sure not to overcrowd the pan, because if you do, it's going to lower the temperature of the oil too much, making the oil cold, and again, making your chicken soggy. Once the chicken has a nice golden brown color, check the temperature. If it registers 160 degrees or over, it's done. Make sure not to let the chicken get too dark or it'll taste burned. Once they're done, place them on a cooling rack. I know that some people use paper towels, though I don't know why you would. I feel like that would just make them more soggy, although, I mean, I've never tried it, so I don't know. The clip you're about to see showed my face in it, so you're not going to see the clip, you're just going to hear the audio, and it's like against my family law to show my face on YouTube, since like I'm underage, so whether or not you want to believe me, I mean, that's up to you, so yeah, enjoy.
Open your mouth so you can see.
Now, to be honest, this is a pretty simple recipe, but it's completely worth it, obviously. The air fried chicken from my last video is amazing with that wing sauce, but you can never replicate deep fried chicken without oil. I mean, this is like the only way to get that perfect soft and melty inside and that stupidly crispy exterior. And we don't have fried chicken too often since it's literally made with like 3 quarts of oil, but every time I bite into one, like, it never gets old. The flavor is like nothing else you've ever had. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Do consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.